How did you get up on The Price is Right? What are your memories of that game show behind the scenes with you? Because I remember watching it. It was pretty funny.
Well, at this time, I wish somebody would find that tape for me. I had the tape in my hands. I gave it to a friend of mine. I'm going to give it right back. But anyway, I went down there. I was actually out in California. Wasn't making that much money. I heard that you could get on there. And a friend of mine was trying so hard to get on that show. He said, maybe you go down with me. They'll take pity on me, you know. So, like one of my T-shirts I have on now, I had on Ox Baker. And I went down. I had no clue whatsoever that I was going to get on the show. In fact, when they chose the first 4 guys, I said, boy, I'm never going to come back here, right? And then they called me down. I was the 5th guy on the show. And I was very, very excited. I got to meet Bob Barker, won some stuff, and very great disappointed when I couldn't win on that wheel.
Let's talk about your wrestling career. We'll backtrack a little bit. What led you to retiring? I mean, was it your body, or is it just time to hang it up?
I don't know if you know. See, I'm 75 right now.
Right.
So at 65, I realized I'd been into it long enough. Right? I didn't believe I was a main eventer. I believe there was guys better than I was. So what I told him, if you want to use me on some shows, I'll be glad to be on them. But for a full time, it was just too much punishment for the body. And the knees were hurting me pretty bad too.
Now, it's pretty true that you trained The Undertaker a little bit, right?
Yes.
Where did that take place at? Down where?
I was in Illinois at the time. There was one of these fly-by-night outfits where The Undertaker came in, and he just wanted to talk to me because at the time he was going as Mean Mark McAllister.
Yep.
He had found out or seen that I beat some of the Von Erichs. Well, Fritz wouldn't let anybody beat his son, so they beat Mark quite a few times. He was greatly disappointed, so he came there, and at the time, believe it or not, to help our finances, this bar in Illinois wanted a couple bouncers, so me and him was bouncing a couple times. I said, Mark, you're so much bigger and stronger than I am. Why don't you take these guys off their feet? And he said, I don't really know how. So I said, well, and for a week or 10 days, I showed him just like push the guy back. When he steps forward, you pick that leg up and knock him down. Or, another move, I said, get your hand, because it's strong, get your hand behind their head and just throw him face down on the mat. And he found out he was real good at it. At the time, Vince Jr. had in mind for a great gimmick.
Right.
And I was there when he called him and said, I'll pay you $2,000 a week for 6 weeks just to stay at home till I get this name for you, right? And even like my Adam Baum later, the same thing.
You trained him as well.
Yep. Trained him from day one, right? In fact, I'm going to induct him in the Wrestling Hall of Fame next year.
What was your relationship like with Vince? And even to this day, what was your relationship?
Okay, Vince Jr., believe it or not, was always been a click man. You want someone, can I pour you a cup of coffee? Can I put sugar in it? Blah, blah, blah. I've never been a click man. All the territories I was ever in, I didn't know the secret to get into the cliques.
You didn't kiss ass, basically.
Huh?
You basically don't kiss ass.
Well, I don't know if that's even the word. Some cliques were just formed because of relationships, right? We was just talking today in Mobile, Alabama. There was 5 Lee brothers that wrestled, right? They had 6 cousins that wrestled, and they had 5 or 6 friends like Dick Don and Don Carson and Kenny Lucas, right? And you couldn't break into that clique no matter what you did. You know what I mean? And I didn't really try that hard, if you want to really know the truth.
Did you see the potential in Mark when he was start training?
Who?
Mean Mark Undertaker. Did you see the potential in him?
In reality, he's like everybody else, but I've never judged anybody. First, in the business, he wasn't that great of a worker. Right?
Is it true at one point in time you approached Vince about being, I guess, his wife's gigolo?
There's a few fallacies that I had. Vince was doing an angle, like he was supposed to be jacking around.
Right.
So I just told somebody, what if I came there one night with a big coat on, a nice big car, and thanking her because she a nice ring she brought me?
Right.
Okay. there was no truth in it whatsoever. I was just telling everybody that there. And I don't know if he heard it or not, but a week later he had her come out of the trance. Because I have sent Vince 6 or 7 great ideas which he have used, Didn't use me, but he used the ideas.
Wow. How did your cookbook come about?
My first wife got in a horrible car accident, and I married a second girl. And I was telling her every night how I'd cook for Andre the Giant. I told her a story about Stud. One of my scrambled eggs would eat 9 eggs, right?
Right.
Go to the door and say, Ox, you're a great cook, but I still hate you.
Yeah.
And I just, and 4 or 5 other guys, I cooked for them. And I actually got into a couple contests in Connecticut, which I won. I won a chili contest, a meatloaf contest. And so she said, why don't you write these down? Because at the time I was a security guard. And so I spent about 3 years writing them down, 50 of them. And a friend of mine actually came over one day and seen. I didn't know it was a book, but he said, "Let me take that down to this publisher." And the next thing I knew, he had a book, right? And I got an offer to go out in California, so I took out 60 books there. I wish I had 600. So I made up another 60 and and like I say, today I sold my 1,000th book. And then I got to tell you my new idea. I wrote about 64 other wrestlers, and I said, how can I make my cookbook better? I said, what if I say the first of the book, this is what all these 60 guys told me to write in the start of that book and their story, like Bob Orton, Ox, tell them about my shoot holds. Right. It's too hard. Ox, either put me in my book or I'll take you back to the dungeon, right? Lou Thez, tell him who's the greatest champion of all times. And I did that 62 times. And the most favorite one I had was the first guy to ever give me some information. I'm talking to a guy called Sonny Myers and a lady wrestler, Kay Noble, was standing right there too. They both died last year. Sonny Myers' advice was, Ox, always watch your back. The girl tapped me on the shoulder. I said, what do you want, Kate? She says, always watch Sonny Myers. Huh. And I thought that, I put that in there, and I'm going to start that because I just retired from my job, and I'm going to start writing that second book. I wrote 1 movie, and I'm starting the second movie, and I got another offer for a movie today, because they always want ideas, about a new movie, and some great productions. There's even one I want to talk to you about later.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.